So here is some successful propagation. So whenever I prune anything that I'm trying to grow in the yard, I take those clippings and I propagate them. So this is elderflower, elderberry, and these are all just a bunch of clippings I stuck in this pot. Here's one that's a little bit less successful. So there's like a lot of little sticks in here that never really sprouted, but one made it. So it's kind of a numbers game. Same thing with that one. And that one. It's a pomegranate, lemon, elderflower that's not really taking too much. Black walnut I just grow from a nut. I just take the nut and stick it in the ground. Elderberry, unsuccessful elderberry. Here's another one. So these are pomegranate clippings. Just poke a hole in the dirt. Then you slice the plant with a razor blade at the very bottom of the stem, about at a very acute angle, so it has more surface area to draw water. You can either use or not use root tone or root hormone. I just bought a little thing of it because I wanted to increase my success rate. So yeah, then you stick a hole in the ground about as deep as you want to go with a dead stick, and then you follow it up in there. So propagated grapes, more pomegranate, walnut, lemon. That tall one's a lemon branch that had to get pruned. More pomegranate all through here, and it's growing, so it's working. I don't really get too excited about it until I start seeing like fresh growth like that. Once you start seeing fresh growth, then you know that your roots are taken. Because there's a little bit of sugar and nutrients in the actual stick that can produce a leaf. But it's not until it actually starts taking off like that that you know that your propagation worked correctly. So like that. It's taken off. Fresh red, rapidly growing leaves. And then from here on out, it's just making sure that slugs and snails don't get to the new leaves and chew them off, like what's going on here. That's being killed by slugs or snails or something. So, however you deal with it. Sometimes I come out in the middle of the night and find them like that. And I don't really have anything against them. I just don't like them killing my plants. So just kind of toss it out to the edge of the yard there. Sasha. That's an avocado growing through the greenhouse there. Got basil. So here's one where the dog got in the greenhouse and like dug up a bunch of holes and everything, but you can see kind of stepped on that one, so it's kind of iffy. But these are all new propagations here. These elderberries and rosemary, lavender, rosemary. This is a really good blackberry bush because it's like razor wire. So, I mean, it'll fillet you open. It's a good boundary plant, but it makes big, fatty blackberries. So here's some more pomegranate starts. So you can assume that I've pruned my pomegranates again. There's another one. So, and this technique here, where they're all bushed out, I put 2 pomegranate spears per hole, and I put 5 of them. 5 holes in a little tiny pot. So we'll see how that actually goes. Maybe 2 of them. It'll help get moisture down in there a little easier, a little bit more aerated too at the same time, and then double the potential. So there's a good example of how I put 2 spears per hole, and I put 5 holes in a little 4x4 flower pot. And prune the grapes. So I'm restarting all these grapes. Here's a big one, big elderberry cluster. So once these all root in and the roots start tangling all up, and it's going to be a big bush. And that's how the plant grows naturally in the environment anyway. A lot of times you get a lot of spears coming up from the same base. So it'll make a good solid elderberry tree or elderberry bush. So yeah, some of them are doing better than others, you know. Pears and apples and, you know, blackberries, a little ginger over there. So if you have flower pots like that and they're not doing something for you, you gotta figure out what you can do to get them working for you. So I usually just come over here, hog out a little bit of sand, and fill up these pots, and then I put them back in the greenhouse. It's on an automatic timer, and I leave them there for a few days, and then the soil becomes saturated. And then once that happens, I can come over here where I got basic stuff like clippers and razor blade, a little shovel, spade shovel, trowel I guess it's called. And then I begin de-leafing, clipping leaves short so that they don't give off so much moisture. Dipping them in take root, which seems to be working pretty good. It's probably at least 1/3 success rate to the propagation. So this is a little cheapy greenhouse that my father-in-law bought a couple years ago, like maybe $100, $150 greenhouse, and it's all tore up. And it's probably the last year or two I'm going to use it. I'm going to rig up a new one, maybe a little bit bigger one. But last year I had pumpkins growing all over the top and all kind of different melons growing in here. It was kind of cool. So it's kind of a cool spot to come and kind of hide out. I know a lot of people like hanging out in their greenhouse because, especially out here in the Central Coast, it can get kind of cold even in the middle of the summer. So then, trying to use these propagations like in the yard. So there's a black walnut, sprouted from a seed collected a couple years ago. Nopales. It's good to eat. It's a good substitute for meat if you don't have meat. And all kinds of squash, goats. These are transplants. I had them growing voluntarily. They're like volunteers. They're growing in a big planter pot. So I didn't want to waste them, so I transplanted them here with the strawberries and the nopales, and kind of dog likes to dig in here, so I've been planting it out and burying a lot of cactus in there, so if she decides to dig, she's going to find a cactus. Maybe not the best idea. So here's some cloned rosemary. Clone that one. Clone those two there. And I just kind of set them up so that when I water the chickens, I can spray this down real fast, just keep a little bit of water on the top of the soil, and then it kind of percolates in. So there's that. They're going to put like a little fire pit in here just to hang out. So the elderberry trees get pretty big. Then all the way down the line.